You are an addict. You are not addicted to drugs. You are not addicted to alcohol. You are addicted to a much more subtle, much more dangerous poison, the validation of a future that does not exist yet. Think back to the last time you had a great idea, a business you wanted to start, a body you wanted to build, a lifestyle you wanted to claim. What was the very first thing you did? Did you get to work? Or did you pick up your phone and tell someone? You told them, and in that moment, you felt good. You felt the warm rush of their respect. You felt the dopamine hit of their congratulations. But I am here to tell you that in that exact moment, you killed the dream. You traded the gold of achievement for the copper of validation. The ancients understood a law that you have forgotten. Power is like steam. If you contain it, it drives the engine. If you release it, it dissipates into the air, useless. Today, we are going to dissect the biology of your failure. We are going to look at why your mouth is your greatest enemy, and we are going to learn how to disappear. Your brain is a liar. It is an ancient, primitive machine that cannot tell the difference between doing a thing and talking about a thing. In 2009, inside the halls of New York University, the psychologist Peter Gollwitzer conducted a study that exposed a fatal glitch in the human operating system. He called it symbolic self-completion theory. The findings were brutal. He discovered that when you announce a goal, I am going to write a book, or I am going to lose 20 pounds, your brain detects the social acknowledgement from others and registers it as progress. Psychologists call this social reality. When your friend says, "Wow, that's amazing, you're going to crush it," your brain releases a flood of satisfaction hormones. It feels the identity of being a fit person or a rich person has already been achieved. You gain the reward without enduring the pain. And because the brain seeks efficiency above all else, once it has the reward, it turns off the engine. This is why you start projects with fire and abandon them in a week. You talked the fire out of existence. The Stoic philosopher Seneca warned us of this centuries ago. He spoke of the difference between the man of words and the man of deeds. He said, "Whatever can be made better lies within." To speak is to project outward. To build is to contain inward. Every time you open your mouth, you widen the gap between who you are and who you say you are. This gap creates a psychological dissonance, a fraudulence. You become a ghost in your own life, haunting a future you will never reach because you are too busy describing it. But listen closely. Your own laziness, that is only the internal consequence. If the only price of talking was that you stopped working, you might survive. But you have done something far worse. By speaking too soon, you have signaled your rise to the tribe. You have projected yourself as a high-value threat before you have the power to defend that position. You have drained your own fuel tank, and simultaneously, you have awakened the predators. Let's talk about envy.
We are raised on a very sweet, very dangerous lie. The lie is that your friends and family want you to achieve your dreams. They don't. This is not because they are evil, it is because they are human. And the human animal is wired for one thing above all else: hierarchy. In the wild, status is survival. If you stay the same and your brother rises, you have effectively fallen. This triggers a deep evolutionary panic in the brain of everyone around you. When you announce a massive goal, that you are going to become a millionaire or get in elite shape, you are not just sharing news, you are signaling a departure from the tribe. You are threatening their placement in the hierarchy. There is a concept in sociology called the tall poppy syndrome. The field of poppies grows at the same height, but if one poppy dares to grow taller than the rest, it is not celebrated, It is cut down. It is leveled out. Robert Greene, the author of the 48 Laws of Power, codified this in Law 46, never appear too perfect. He warns that envy creates silent enemies. When you speak about your future success, you trigger a specific form of anxiety in your peers. They will smile, they will nod, but behind their eyes, a calculation is being made. They will begin to offer you realistic advice. They will remind you of the risks. They will subtly sabotage you with doubt. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer wrote about the concept of schadenfreude, the secret, shameful joy that humans feel at the misfortune of others. By announcing your plans, you give them a stake in your failure. If you fail, they are proven right. They are safe. Their mediocrity is justified. So protect yourself. Do not burden them with your ambition, and do not give them the weapon to cut you down. But here is the darkest truth of all. Even if you lived on a desert island, even if there was no one around to envy you, you would still fail. Because while the envy of others is dangerous, it pales in comparison to the treason happening inside your own nervous system.
Let's leave society behind and look under the microscope. Inside your skull, there is a mechanism that dictates every action you take. It is the dopamine reward system. Most men misunderstand dopamine. They think it is about pleasure. It is not. Dopamine is about drive. It is the chemical of pursuit. It is the fuel that makes a wolf hunt in the snow for 3 days without food. But this system has a flaw. It can be hacked. Neuroscience calls this reward prediction error. When you visualize a goal and then keep your mouth shut, your brain creates a deficit. It realizes there is a gap between where you are and where you want to be. This gap creates tension, anxiety, friction. Most people hate this feeling, but this friction is the only thing that moves you forward. It is the psychological hunger that forces you to hunt. However, the moment you tell someone your plan, you release the tension. You speak the words, "I'm going to start a business." They reply, "Wow, that's great." Boom. Your brain releases the dopamine reward before you have done the work. You have tricked your nervous system into thinking the hunt is over. You have eaten the meal without catching the prey. You are effectively chemically castrating your own ambition. Modern neuroscientist Andrew Huberman describes this as dopamine stacking. When you get the cheap reward of social validation, you destroy your capacity to endure the hard reward of actual labor. You are trading a diamond for a piece of glass. You feel good in the moment, you feel relieved, but that relief is your death sentence. You have satisfied the chemical urge, and so the physical body stops moving. You are chemically satisfied, you are physically stalled. But the ancients believed this loss wasn't just biological. They believed that by speaking, you were violating a fundamental law of the universe. You are leaking energy. And now, we must enter the pressure chamber.
To understand why you fail, you must understand the physics of transformation. In the ancient tradition of alchemy, the alchemists sought to transmute base metals like lead into gold. But the most important tool in their laboratory was not the fire, and it was not the metal. It was the vessel. They called it the vas hermeticum, the hermetic seal. The rule was absolute. The vessel must be airtight. If a single crack appeared, if a single vapor escaped, the process would fail. The great work would be ruined. Why? Because transformation requires pressure. Think of a steam engine. If you boil water in an open pot, the steam escapes into the air, harmless and weak. But if you boil that same water inside a sealed steel chamber, the pressure builds. The molecules scream for an exit. They vibrate with violence.
and that violence is what moves the train. When you keep your mouth shut, you are sealing the vessel. You are creating a closed system. In physics, we know that open systems lose energy to their environment. This is called entropy. But a closed system conserves its heat. This is enthalpy. When you refuse to speak, you trap your psychological heat inside your own body. It has nowhere to go. It circulates, it builds, it becomes uncomfortable, it becomes painful. Good. That pain is not a symptom of failure. It is the symptom of pressurization. You are taking the raw carbon of your potential and subjecting it to intense, crushing silence. That is the only way carbon creates a diamond. But we live in a world that fears silence. We are taught to share, to vent, to express. We are taught to open the valves. And so we hiss out all our power, becoming comfortable, mediocre, and cold. You must learn to love the pressure. You must learn to sit in the airtight room of your own mind. Because once you seal the vessel and the lights go out, you are left alone in the dark. And in that darkness, you will meet the only entity capable of changing your life.
When you stop performing for others, the mask falls off. Society raises you to be a nice guy. You are taught to be transparent, harmless, and cooperative. You are taught that your darker impulses, your aggression, your greed, your desire for dominance are evil things that must be repressed. But the psychologist Carl Jung knew better. He called this repressed side the shadow. Most men spend their lives running from their shadow. They overshare and seek validation because they want to prove to the tribe that they are good. They are terrified of their own darkness. But when you move in silence, something shifts. You stop seeking the approval of the herd. You are no longer asking, "Am I a good boy?" You are asking, "Am I effective?" In the silence, you begin to integrate the shadow. You stop wasting your energy trying to look virtuous, and you start using your aggression as a fuel source. You realize that ambition is not pretty. It is a form of hunger. Nietzsche spoke of the will to power. He understood that life is not about mere survival. It is about overcoming. It is about expansion. This requires a level of selfishness that polite society hates. By keeping your mouth shut, you are protecting this dark engine from the judgment of the weak. You are building a nuclear reactor of drive that no one else can see. You become what Jordan Peterson calls the monster. Not a villain, but a man who is capable of danger, but keeps it under control. A man who is harmless is not virtuous, he's just weak. A man who is silent, capable, and dangerous, he is a force of nature. This is the Shadow Alliance. It is you and your dark ambition working in unison, undetected by the radar of the crowd. You have now sealed the vessel. You have integrated the shadow. You are a loaded weapon. But a weapon without a target is useless. You must know the exact moment to break the seal and unleash the attack. You need a strategy for the strike. There is a moment when the silence must end. But it does not end with a word. It ends with a shock. In The Art of War, the strategist Sun Tzu wrote, "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt." Most men move like a rainstorm. You hear them coming from miles away. They rumble, they complain, they announce the weather. By the time they arrive, everyone has opened their umbrellas. They are predictable. They are boring. You must be the lightning. The lightning does not explain itself. It does not ask for permission. It strikes. And only after the destruction is visible do you hear the thunder. This is the strategic advantage of silence. It allows you to utilize the element of surprise. When you work in the dark, you remove the possibility of public failure. If you try and fail, no one knows. You can pivot, adjust, and strike again without the shame of an audience. You preserve your reputation. But when you succeed, it appears to the world as if you materialized success out of thin air. This is the ex machina effect. To the observer, you were average yesterday and elite today. They did not see the struggle. They did not see the years of pressure in the chamber. They only see the result. This creates an aura of godlike competence. It makes you look effortless. The Stoics practiced amor fati, a love of reality. By only revealing the result after it is factual reality, you align yourself with truth. You are no longer a man of promises. You are a man of evidence. You have shocked the world. You have established dominance. The results are undeniable. But the game isn't over. In fact, this is the most dangerous moment. Now that you are on top, the urge to brag will return stronger than ever. The ego will scream to tell the story of how hard you worked. Do not listen. To stay a king, you must adopt one final persona.
There is a moment when the silence must end. But it does not end with a word. It ends with a shock. In The Art of War, the strategist Sun Tzu wrote, "Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt." Most men move like a rainstorm. You hear them coming from miles away. They rumble, they complain, they announce the weather. By the time they arrive, everyone has opened their umbrellas. They are predictable, they are boring. You must be the lightning. The lightning does not explain itself. It does not ask for permission. It strikes, and only after the destruction is visible do you hear the thunder. This is the strategic advantage of silence. It allows you to utilize the element of surprise. When you work in the dark, you remove the possibility of public failure. If you try and fail, no one knows. You can pivot, adjust, and strike again without the shame of an audience. You preserve your reputation. But when you succeed, it appears to the world as if you materialized success out of thin air. This is the ex machina effect. To the observer, you were average yesterday and elite today. They did not see the struggle. They did not see the years of pressure in the chamber. They only see the result. This creates an aura of godlike competence. It makes you look effortless. The Stoics practiced amor fati, a love of reality. By only revealing the result after it is factual reality, you align yourself with truth. You are no longer a man of promises. You are a man of evidence. You have shocked the world. You have established dominance. The results are undeniable. But the game isn't over. In fact, this is the most dangerous moment. Now that you are on top, the urge to brag will return stronger than ever. The ego will scream to tell the story of how hard you worked. Do not listen. To stay a king, you must adopt one final persona. Look at the figures of power throughout history, the true figures of power. They all share one trait. They are unreadable. We are drawn to the mystery. We are obsessed with what we cannot understand. If a magician walks onto the stage, performs a miracle, and then immediately explains exactly how the trick was done, the magic dies. He transforms from a wizard into a mechanic. The audience loses respect. They think, "Oh, is that all it was?" But if he snaps his fingers, creates the impossible, and then walks off stage without a word, he becomes legend. This is the archetype of the magician. This is Robert Greene's Law 3, conceal your intentions. Even after you succeed, you must maintain the silence. When people ask how you did it, give them a vague answer. Smile, change the subject. By withholding the how, you maintain a power imbalance. You become an attractor. Because you are a blank slate, people will project their own fantasies onto you. They will assume you are smarter, more connected, and more powerful than you actually are. This is the Sphinx protocol. The Sphinx sits in the desert, massive and silent, asking the riddle but never answering it. It commands respect simply by being. You must transition from the silent worker to the man of mystery. Silence is not just a productivity hack to get work done. It is a lifestyle. It is the permanent state of the highest value men. In a world of screaming children, the man who whispers is the only one who is heard, and the man who says nothing is the one who is feared. You have a choice. You can leave a comment below telling me what you are going to do, or you can close this video, tell no one, and actually go do it. Disappear. The video is over. Most of you are about to make a mistake. You are going to scroll down to the comments section. You are going to type out a declaration. You are going to write, "I am going purely silent starting today," or "Watch me disappear." Do not do that. If you type that comment, you have already failed. You have sought validation for a silence you haven't even kept yet. There is only one signal you are allowed to leave. If you wish to join the few who operate in the shadows and you want to be notified when we transmit again, then subscribe to the channel. It is the only silent acknowledgement I will accept. Now close the tab and go to work. Disappear.